The first time I bought it, I had no clue what I was buying, bro. So we were just buying just to buy, like, because somebody told us to buy. You know what I mean? We didn't really connect the dot and the emotion of why own real estate that early. But as I went further and started owning more, I really started to understand, shit, man.
One of the top real estate investors in the country, having ranked in the top 1% of realtors in the country for many years, he invested consistently into real estate and his future for over 30 years. That delayed gratification has allowed him and his wife to amass over $100 million in real estate today, $100,000 a month in net passive income, and create an amazing life for himself and his family. This success has also allowed him to be a leader in the community, widely recognized as one of the most charitable donors in the area. This guest has also built a following over 3.5 million followers across YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram.
So I realized, and what everybody wants at the end of the day, they don't want the money. They don't want all the rental property. They don't want the cash flow. They don't want to be number one. What they all want at the end of the day is
Please give a warm welcome to the one and only Thach Nguyen.
come on, baby. Let's go. I love it. I love it. Hey,
Yes.
man, excited to be here, brother. Excited to be here.
Hey, man, thank you so much for making the time. Know how busy you are, but we definitely appreciate it. And I know everybody that hears us today is going to be, blessed to hear this conversation. So thank you again.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. It's going to be fun, man. I'm excited on, inspiring and educating these folks today.
For sure. So, before we kick it off, for anybody that's been living under a rock for the last, decade, maybe 30 years since you've hit the real estate scene, maybe just give a little bit of a background around where you're from, coming up and kind of, what you're all about over there.
Yeah. You guys, if you don't know me, I was born in Vietnam in 1970. In 1975, when I was about 5 years old, my dad at that time was 31, my mom was 29. My dad worked for the U.S. military as a translator for the U.S. government and the Army. And when the communists decided to invade South Vietnam and take over Saigon, the U.S. troop, you guys probably seen a lot of the TV show, the U.S. troop decided to pull out of Saigon and then leave. And so my dad's boss said, you should come with us to the United States because you're probably going to be killed since you've been working with the U.S. government. You should go home with your family and leave with us. So my dad called home and told my mom, hey, the U.S. troop is pulling out. They asked us to come with them. My dad said, I'm going to come and get you guys. Pack everything up. At that time, we wasn't rich at all. We had one suitcase of clothes for all 8 of us. Well, actually 7 of us. My mom was pregnant with my sister, which is number 8. I was 5 years old, and we had like $100. And then my dad came home, picked us up, and on our way to the airport, we blew 2 tires. We ended up missing the last plane. Luckily for us, we spent the night in Saigon, and the boss says we got one more airplane leaving, and we got on the last plane with the U.S. troop, and we flew out and landed in Camp Pennington in San Diego. That's why it has such a big population of Vietnamese people in Southern Cal. We was there for about a month or two, and then we got sent up to Seattle. We were staying in Camp Murray for a few months, and then we met a guy named Charles Zettler, who sponsored our family to come live with them. And we were living with them for like 2 years. And then my dad finally found a rental house up in South Seattle. And we started our journey in South Seattle in 1977. We left Vietnam in 77. That's right. I was 75. I'm sorry, 75. Left there 75. And then we got our own place pretty much by 77, 78 up in Rainier Valley in Seattle. That's how I ended up in Seattle.
Wow. Okay.
Crazy, bro.
Yeah.
What's crazy is next year will be the 50-year anniversary of the collapse of Saigon.
Wow. Okay.
50 year, bro.
Amazing.
Crazy.
Amazing. You've been back to Vietnam, right?
I've been back to Vietnam now about 4 or 5 times.
Okay.
And, what's crazy is that, my aunt, she's in the U.S. now. She's visiting. This is the second time in the U.S. But every time I go back to Vietnam, it's crazy because I was only 5 when I left. But it seems like the more I go back there, it's like deja vu, like I lived this life back here before. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
man, like I don't know these streets, but I know the streets. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like I don't know the people, but I know the people. And and then sitting around the dining table, listening to my mom and my aunt talk about what happened the day of the evacuation, or what happened 1 year later, 2 year later, 5 year later. And it's crazy, man. Even today, my aunt's in Seattle right now, and we were just talking about that the other day. What happened when, the communists came in, and what happened to the money, and what happened to how they reinvented, the currency in Vietnam, and businesses, what I mean, that was successful pretty much went out of business, and on and on. And it's crazy. So it's a blessing, man, to be here. It's a blessing, just to be able to experience it. And it put, when you have money today, it put things in perspective. Like, shit, man, got it good.
Yeah, that's for sure, man.
Yeah.
So you came in 77, 78, and
Yep.
then, from knowing you, I know you started real estate around 1991.
Yep.
What was it like for you, coming over as a kid, fresh new place? Were you always a studious kid? Was it a rough, did you have to go through your trials and tribulations as a kid before you found something that you were really passionate about? Kind of what was growing up in South Seattle like for you?
Man. So, of course, when I was younger, I was, a kid that's very ambitious. I'm always looking underneath the rock, shaking the bushes to see what's out there. And we grew up in Rainier Valley, Seattle. You guys live in Seattle, you know where that is, on Martin Luther King Street and Orchid Street. For some of you guys who live in Seattle. And I went to school, elementary school, middle school here, all around Seattle. Went to high school at Franklin High School. I graduated in 88. When I graduated in 88, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do because I wasn't super clear. My two older brother was in the aviation business, so I figured, let me just follow their footstep. I graduated from college at South Seattle Community College in 91 to fix aviation airplane. I got my degree, but I wasn't inspired. So one of my tips I'm going to tell you guys, if you're listening, right? Do things that actually make your heart sing. Do things that actually inspire you. Don't do things because your mom and dad tell you to do it. Asian folks is all about, you should do this, you should do that. And a lot of Asian, kids end up doing the thing that their mom and dad tell them to do, and they hate it. So do the thing what you love to do, what inspire you, what you make your heart sing. And I graduated from college in 91 with an aviation degree of fixing an airplane. And I hate it, bro. And, I didn't graduate from high school with a real high grade GPA. But I graduated from college with an A&P mechanic, but I wasn't inspired. I was parking car at a Chinese restaurant in Chinatown, and one of my friends, her name was Linda Chan, she was like, she was actually studying for a real estate license. And she was like, you should go do real estate with me, right? You got a good mouthpiece, you talk, you know what I mean? And I was like, really? And I found out, commission was 7% on the house, which was not really true, but that got me inspired, was the money. Right? That's why I got into real estate. I did it for the money. I didn't do it because I liked real estate. I didn't know shit about real estate. And in 91, I got my real estate license. I was the youngest agent ever hired in Seattle, 21 years old. And that was my journey as a realtor. And from there, man, I just worked my way up as a realtor and then transitioned into investing down the road.
Right. And was it, beyond that kind of meeting with the other gal that was getting her real estate license, did you find a mentor soon after you started that taught you the ropes, or were you kind of going on your own, on your own pace there for a little while when you were early in your real estate career?
Yeah, when I was 21, I got my license. I was clueless what to do. I was still living in my mom and dad's house. I did have no money at all, you know what I mean? And after 3 years sitting around the office, waiting for someone to call me, working with my dad's friend, probably got 1 or 2 deals a year. The worst part of it, when you work with Asian people, they want kickback money. So they have my paycheck, where I had to kick it back to them. So I was only making half of a deal every time I did a deal, right? And then in 94, I met a guy named Mike Ferry. He was a real estate coach, teaching people how to be a good top realtor. I signed up for one of his seminars. After I signed up, I got hooked. And he was offering coaching at the time, $300 a month, bro. I was like, damn, my damn car payment was only like $150. I was paying $300 in car payment, but in coaching. But I took the leap because I really wanted personal growth development. I really wanted to learn about real estate, how to be a top realtor. And I was 24 years old, and I paid $300 a month to be coached by him and his company every other week for half an hour. And he taught me how to go out there and find listing. I used to door knock, you guys, 100 doors a day, 5 days a week, 5 hours a day for 10 years straight on how to find sellers who want to sell their property. Because in real estate, it's all about being a listing agent. And I was out there door knocking and I remember the first year, it was brutal, man. You know, my script wasn't down. I looked young. I was scared as shit. Every time I went to the door, I would stutter. And I didn't know how to deliver my script. And the seller used to be like, go learn how to speak English. You know what I mean? I didn't ask to sell. I didn't advertise to sell my house, right? Get off my damn porch. And people used to curse at me. They used to have their dog chase me. They used to, call me all kind of crazy names. But you know what? My coaches always tell me, pick your ass back up and get out there and keep knocking. It's a numbers game. It's a numbers game. And I tell you guys, after doing it for one day, it's easy. After doing it for a week and 30 days, you get shitted on all the time, it become hard. Talk about a 6 month to a year. But for me, and my biggest why at the time was, I wanted to make some money for myself, and I wanted to retire my mom and dad. That was my why. That's why I kept going, guys. And I did it. So my first year, I did about 3 more deals. And then the second year, 4 or 5 deals. And the third year, 6, 7, 8. And I went up 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. And at my peak in like 2006 and 7, I was selling 150, 170 homes a year. Just me and my wife and one assistant. That's where I made all my money. You got to buy real estate.
Yeah, that's so important. Not only, the fact that you had a mentor, which is a huge thing that I recommend anybody that's starting.
Most people don't even have a mentor.
Because you're going to quit.
They think I can do it themselves.
Yeah, you think you can do it yourself, and then you're going to quit, and you're going to have nobody to hold you accountable, nobody to keep you going. Nobody.
Bro, if I didn't have a coach, I would have quit after about a month from rejection.
Yeah, even with the why, right? Like, there's a lot of people that want to retire their mom and dad, but if they don't have the support system or they're not surrounded by that, the people that you're surrounded by will end up determining who you are.
The only accountability they got, man, is the ego in their head.
Yep.
Right? And if it's you against your ego, you're always going to lose. No matter how bad you say you want to retire your mom and dad.
Yeah. Yeah. Was Mike Ferry, I don't know the whole story there. How far ahead were they from you? Were they 10 years older? Were they a similar age group, or kind of how did you know to put your faith in them when you were learning from them?
Mike Ferry was very known as a real estate coach. If I'm 54, Mike gotta be probably at least 30 years in front of me. You know what I mean? Easy. You know what I mean? So he was already a real estate guru out there teaching me how to be a realtor. And then he had his son, Matthew Ferry and Tom Ferry, which was my age, and they was helping with the company. And so I used to connect with Matthew and Tom and go to these seminars. And I just started learning, man, how to go out there and know scripts and know how to do comps and know how to go out there and door knock and cold call seller and ask them would they sell their home. And what's crazy is I never knew until today, I look back, that all those gifts that I learned from Mike, which was cold call, door knock, and market to seller and ask them would they sell. And I had scripts. I talked to seller. Today, I still cold call, mail, door knock, seller with ugly houses. Back then, I was cold calling nice houses, ask for listing. Today, I cold call, mail, and door knock ugly houses for me to buy to invest. So I learned the skill of scripts. I learned the skill of how to talk to sellers. And more importantly, I learned the mindset, how to keep, going when shit don't happen as fast as you like it to see it.
Right. So when you were first investing or first side, let's say selling real estate, you were just trying to make as much money as possible.
That's right.
When did you have that shift where you're like, I should probably start parking some of this into real estate? And kind of what did that look like in your first couple deals and kind of?
Yeah. So I started in 91. In 94, I started making some money because Mike was teaching me. And I was making money. I was climbing the ladder, making money. And at that time, you guys, I was only 27 years old. Was that right? No, 21 I started in 91. By 24, yeah, I was 24, 25 years old. At at the time, you know, 90. I started 2000 and I started in 91. I met Mike in 1994, and I was like 24, 25 years old. I was already started making money as Mike was teaching me. By the time I was 26, 27, I met another mentor named Saul, right? And Saul's the guy who said, look, you're young, you're starting to make good money, right? And he says to me, you can be rich by selling real estate, but you're always going to trade your time to go make money. If you really smart, set yourself up early where you can start taking the money you make and start buying rental property. So later on, you can be wealthy. And very few people are wealthy. And wealthy when you trade your money back for time. And with the time, you can do everything you want to do, and you don't have to report to nobody. So ultimately, everybody's going to actually trade for time for money. But if you're smart, you set yourself up right, you invest in real estate, for example, one day you can get your time back when you get older. So my first half from 0 to 50 was when I traded my time for money. Now my second half, and from 50 to 100, I'm going to take my time back. And I'm going to do the thing that I really wanted to do, right? Travel, spend time with my kids, grandkid when they come one day, train the kid, train the grandkid, go can make a difference in the community, train people how to be successful like you and many Springboard students across America. And that's the thing I want to do. Who doesn't want to do that? The reason why most people can't do that because they ain't got no time.
Yeah, for sure. Man, I bet you're so grateful that you bought that first property, back.
Wow. The first time I bought it, I had no clue what I was buying, bro. My wife, Cameron, had no clue. So we were just buying just to buy, like, because somebody told us to buy. You know what I mean? We didn't really connect the dot and the emotion, right, of why own real estate. You know what I mean? That early. But as I went further and started owning more, I really started to understand, shit, man, when you really have enough property and you out of the rat race, you really can have freedom, time and freedom. So I realized, and what everybody wants at the end of the day, they don't want the money. They don't want all the rental property. They don't want the cash flow. They don't want to be number one. What they all want at the end of the day is their time back and freedom to do what they want to do whenever they want to do it. That's what everybody wants at the end of the day. Even billionaires.
So of all the things you've done, right? You've done single family, multifamily, high-rise apartment buildings in Oakland. Yep. You've built 250 plus unit condo developments, $20 plus million ground up developments. What would you say is your favorite type of investment that you've done over the last, 30 years? Maybe it's changed, but what gives you the most peace of mind and the most alignment when you're investing in and you feel good about?
Yeah, that's a good question, man. I've done everything, guys. I've done single family flips. I've done new construction, single family, everyday price. I done luxury new construction, single family home, $2-3 million houses. I done multi-family, townhouses, brand new construction. I done small rehab apartments, 20, 30 unit apartment building. And I done brand new construction apartment building from a 10 unit up to a 250 unit apartment building. And I've done now today, single family home with, 80 unit in the backyard. So when I look at my whole experience, there's pros and cons in every one of those. Single family flip, right? It's great. You make, decent amount of equity and they cash flow, very little, $100, $200, especially in Seattle. If you're somewhere else, you might cash flow better. New construction, so you don't need a lot of money for that. New construction, single family home and luxury home, they don't cash flow. You need a lot of cash to play new construction. You need down payment for the land. You need plans and permits, right? Then you need more money for construction. And then it takes you a year and a half to 2 years. It could take you about 6 to 8 months to get a permit. Another 8 to 9 months to build. So you're calling for 2 years. And at the end, what you get is you get a profit and you sell it. And you and I know you can't keep those because it doesn't cash flow because it's too expensive. But you end up selling the new construction, and what you get out of it, which is most people get excited about, is the profit. But you pay 40 to 50% to Uncle Sam, so you really only made half, and you lose 2 years of your time, and you still don't own no rental property. And also, you can look back 10, 20 years from now. You keep doing though. You gotta look back when you're 50 years old, and you go, "Damn, I flipped a lot of houses, built a lot of houses for sale, but I'm 50 years old, and it went by so fast, but I ain't got no rental property." And I see a lot of people in that situation. I've done the big apartment buildings. Those takes a massive amount of cash. If you don't have all the cash, you got to go syndicate and raise capital. Then you got to deal with a whole nother thing about babysitting investors. When a good time is here, you don't have to babysit investors. They just calling you, throwing you flowers and thanking you for everything. And then when the bad time comes around, right? They throw mud at your house, you know what I mean? And mud at your name on the streets. I've done it now a whole bunch of time. I'm in a position now where if I had a choice, which I do, I prefer not to do those much now because they're just too risky. Because it takes 2 to 3 years to get a permit for a 100-unit, 200-unit apartment building today. The cost of construction is so expensive, land's so expensive, by the time you get done, you need probably 40% worth of equity, especially in Seattle, for it to even break even or make a little bit of cash flow. The risk is so high because by the time you get done 2, 3, 4 years down the road, the market could change, like what's happening right now. So many people have built these apartment buildings and the market has changed. Now interest rates so high, they can't refi because they don't have enough equity, or no bank is willing to take out loan right now. And so now they're forced to sell at a discount. And so today, I will say in Seattle, and I will tell you from looking at everything across America, anybody who live in a very dense city, they are dealing with affordable housing. And the city is all trying to figure out how to create more affordable housing in big city and dense cities like Seattle, San Diego, the Bay Area, New York, Las Vegas, Miami, Tampa, Orlando. I mean, you name it, these are all dense area. And right now, all city council right now are saying, hey, instead of rezoning single family zoning all across the city, it's too much work. Why don't we allow people to build secondary units in the backyard on single family zoning called ADU? We can do that pretty easy by doing, certain paperwork like called condo paperwork. We just overlay these paperwork over single family zoning, and we can make it happen. Seattle got this 3 years ago. Today, we can build ADU in the backyard. We have separate parcel number. We can sell it separately anytime, and it's a game changer, and it cash flow, these ADU cash flow. It costs us $350,000 to build 1,000 square foot ADU, you guys. It's worth $700,000. It's a 1% rule, and love no, right? You can't buy it anywhere in an expensive market, 1% rule and cash flow. So to me, this is the new cash flow game. And so right now, I just saw an article the other day, and New York has been approved. Boston just got approved. San Jose just got approved, right? And so you guys, today, I love buying single family home, putting ADU in the backyard, or building single family home, putting 82 ADUs in the backyard, and do multi-family townhouses. Because they less risk, less money. I get in and out within a year, 2 year max, and I can keep them as a rental property. And that's the key thing. I don't want to spend years and years building and selling because I just wasted this whole time of my life. So when you guys are in your peak in your 30s to your 50, that's your prime year. You can't just keep building and sell and fix it and sell because you're going to wait from 30 to 50. And if you're always selling, you're losing all that precious time from 30 to 50. You're not going to get it back. Because by the time you hit 50, all of it going to your 100 year, you want to spend that second half enjoying your money. But if you've been flipping all your shit from 30 to 50 and you got nothing at 50, you might have to work until you get old.
I've talked to so many people about that in terms of, they often will say, I can make 100,000 now if I just flip this. it'll take me, 20 years to make that money back if I make $200 a month, right? But I say, well, if you have $1 million property and in 10 years it's worth 2 million, you're making 100,000 every year for the next 10 years in equity, paying no taxes on it. And then the loan's getting paid down as well. And like you add up a couple of those and it's going to way outperform the guy that's just flipping and making that 100,000, doing a couple flips a year and just paying half in taxes. But people don't think long enough term,
No, and they comparing two different things.
Yeah.
Right? They're comparing a Honda and a Ferrari, right? Because what they're comparing is active income. And then what we're talking about is passive income. We're not asking you guys to replace your active income with passive income, because we know passive income does take a little bit of time to get to 100,000 a month like what I have. But I still do active income, and I just take my active income money and I park it for passive income so I can have both. But the people ain't out there doing both. They only get active income, but they don't have, first of all, if you don't park your money in the real estate, you don't get appreciation. And then the cool thing is the appreciation, you don't have to pay tax on the appreciation. And then when you ever refi your house and get cash out, you don't have to pay no tax on the refi money. And then you got cash flow that probably being paid down by the tenant, right? You get all the tax benefits that come along with it. You get all that. Way more than someone going, oh, but I make X amount of money active income. Well, keep making it. You've been having that shit to Uncle Sam anyway. What you going to get? What you going to have 20 years from now? Nothing.
Yep. It's a hard truth, hard reality for a lot of people that they're going to, a lot of people find out, but it's too late, right? A lot of people find out when they're in their 50s or 60s that it might have been smart to park a couple of those.
And the thing about it, Ann, is that there's not enough people that really try to explain the difference in active income and passive income. That's why people just think, oh, I make $1 million a year. You know how long it would take me to get $1 million a year in passive income? You know what I mean? Because they haven't seen both sides. They're not educated to see both sides. If they see what you and I see, they'd be like, well, shit. I'm making $1 million a year. I need to park some of this money over here so I can have some of that shit 20 years down the road.
For sure.
Yeah.
So I don't want to let you go before I really wanted to get you on, right? You know that I'm expecting our first baby girl at the end of the month.
Sir.
Life's about to change.
You have no idea, baby, what's coming to you.
Having you as a mentor, a friend, since 2020 when we first connected, something that I really honor about you is the way you've been able to balance family, health, real estate, and knowing how ambitious you are. That's a lot of things to manage, right? So, having had success in that, I wanted to make sure, have an opportunity to ask you a few questions around, how you were able to balance that, especially early on in your, family life. How did you change your routine, or how did things change for you early on when you had Russell, had Hudson, and kind of what are maybe a couple of tips that you could recommend for somebody that's an ambitious guy that wants to keep on keeping on, but also wants to put their family first?
Yeah, man, this is such a big conversation, and because I see out there so many friends that you and I have, and they're not clear on their priority. They get so too easy with fame, attention, being recognized, being an influencer, right? And I was one of them when I was younger, right? And what I mean by this is this. When I was younger, as I'm coming up to become successful, everybody want you. Hey, can you come and speak in my office? You're a top real estate agent. And the more you get these, the more your head and your ego start getting big. Like, oh man, I'm somebody. I'm actually somebody, right? And what happened is that you become a yes to everything. Hey, can you speak here? Sure. Hey, can you speak at this time? Sure. Hey, can you speak at this time? Sure. Can you speak online? Sure. Can you speak in another state? Sure. All right. Sorry. We don't have a budget. Oh, no problem. I speak. I remember, and I used to speak on webinars. I used to speak at a whole bunch of local real estate offices in Seattle because everybody wanted me to come and speak. I would get asked to speak so many times in California, and I would just, a yes to everything. And what I didn't realize was I was doing it for the ego. but I didn't have my priority together. So I was out traveling and doing all this, trying to motivate, inspire other people, but I wasn't even clear why I was even doing it. Like, what's my end game for this whole thing, right? And so I'm out doing it. And one day, and when my kid was young, my wife said to me, you know, I think it's great that you go out there and you are inspiring, helping other people, everywhere. And I just want to say, honey, that just don't forget about me and the kids. And that's when I realized I have my priority backwards. I'm putting everybody out there in front of me. I'm putting everybody out there in front of my wife and my kids. Because I want to be famous. I want to be seen. For what? What the hell am I doing all this for? What is the end game for me anyways? Right? And I had to get my priority together. And at the end of the day, when I got my priority, I realized what's important to me is I have my own goals. I need to go after my own goals. Then part of my goal is, mentoring my kids, right? Mentally, spiritually, emotionally, financially, through sport, through mindset, right? And spend time with my wife, Cammie, and go do things. And me spending time meditating and working out. Those are all my goals. And so I basically make sure that I put on my calendar all my goals and things that I'm doing with myself, my work, my fitness, my meditating time, my family time, my dinner time, kids' sports time. I put it in my calendar. And now if somebody asks me to do something, if I don't have any space in my calendar, now I'm a no. But before, I would be a yes to everything, and then I put my family, my kids, hopefully on the calendar if I have it, any more room left. See, I had it backwards. And today, and I will say to you, if I was coaching you today about your kids, make sure you and your wife are clear on what it is, the end game for you guys. Now, about, I always talk about family life, fitness life, spiritual life, career life, all the equity of life, right? Make sure you guys are clear on that. That's your goal. That should be priority number 1. Podcast, interviewing people should be priority number 2. Speaking at anywhere should be priority number 2, right? Anything that is not on your personal thing is priority number 2. And if you don't have time to do priority number 2, you got to be a no. But I didn't have to learn that today. And I know so many people, I don't want to say no name. If I say name, they still a yes to everything. And I feel bad for their husband and their kids because they get left out in the rain and their kids growing up fast. Thank God I learned this when my kid was young. And so the biggest tip I can give you, my friend, is be clear on what your end game is and your goals and everything. Put all that on the calendar for you, and then whatever time you have left over, then is for others. That's why I don't like to speak at a lot of events, and I don't like to do a lot of podcasts because I just don't have the time, right? I don't have a lot of time because my schedule's already full with my own stuff I got going on, right? Especially when your kids new right now. Wait till they get to a point where they play sports, bro. It'd be sports damn 5 days a week. And on the weekend, ain't nothing but sports all day long. And you got one kid. Imagine you get 2 kids, see what happens. Okay? So learn from that, all right? And you have a balanced life. And believe me, bro, everybody else, I hate to say it, they're not even thinking about us. Can you speak here? Can you speak there? Can you be on my podcast? They not even give a shit, bro. Right? They just want you. You never think about us. They don't think about us because they're not supposed to do us. That's our job. So you got to be clear on what your priority is, so you can say yes and no.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And I'm sure people do listening because, for all the high achievers out there, saying yes to everything and wanting to, show up at all those events, you think it's growing your career and part of it is, but there's also the ego aspect of it.
100%.
There's the phone that's like constantly ringing, that people want your time, people want your attention. Yep. And I'm always like, has always been, pretty responsive and want to help and like just knock those things out. But you really got to draw the lines and just be like,
you have
not going to respond to that, or, at least not during certain times.
Respond to it. It might not be, I get like hundreds of email on email, Facebook, Instagram. People emailing me, asking, hey, I see you. I watch all your video on YouTube, and I have a question about my real estate and my performance. Is there any way you can give some tip? I'm like, fuck, I ain't got time for that shit. You know what I mean? Right? I mean, like, man, I already got thousands of students I'm mentoring. I'm looking at their performance, let alone strangers. You know what I mean? So it's just not enough time in the day, man. I just can't help everybody. But you got to be clear. If you're not clear, this is what I always say. If you ain't clear in your goal, you're being sold by somebody else's goals.
Yep. If you don't have a plan, you'll fit into somebody else's plan.
Okay, right? Bro. If they got a plan, like, I need to get my podcast full, all right? And they're going to ask everybody. And people get excited. Oh, man, oh, yeah. They'll fly out to do podcasts, for what? You know what I mean? So, yeah. You got to get clear, folks. You can grow your business sometime without doing all that.
So looking ahead, right, where, what are your goals as we kind of look ahead to the next 5-10 years? You mentioned the podcast for Springboard.
Yep.
You've got so many irons in the fire right now. So much potential from a development perspective and education perspective. But again, it goes back to what you were just talking about. What are you're going to have to say no to some things too and find out really what's important to you. So kind of what do you see? What's your why right now? Has it changed? And kind of what are you looking at in the next few years here?
Yeah. So my 10-year goal, you guys, I'm 54 now, and 10 years from now at, 64, right? Really, by the time I'm 60, my goal right now is I'm always going to be a real estate investor, real estate developer, always. And today, I'm clear on my end game. I don't want to waste a lot of time building something from scratch just for sale. I would do some as a strategy to have profit. But if I have 10, 20 deals, I have 20 deals a year to build. Believe it, 70% of that is built to keep, 30% to build and sell to get some more cash. Okay? I'm only doing projects that did not require syndication. Because syndication to me is out of my priority. I don't want to be babysitting nobody. And I don't need 1,000 doors to be wealthy. I got 200 some doors a day. My living expense is like 30 grand a month. I got 100 grand with the passive income, so I don't really need to do. It's not going to change my life. If we go, right now I have $100 million to real estate. The real estate market in Seattle will double every 7 to 10 years. So in the next 7 to 10 years, I'll have over $200 million, right? And in the next 20, 25 years, I'll probably have over $1 billion to real estate. So, having another $100 million is not going to change my life. But I know I'm always going to do real estate. So for me today, I will cherry pick to do the thing that is low-hanging fruit, less risk, very, what I call no-brainer, right? Where I can put my money in, get my money back out, and I'm going to do that. At the same time, I'm going to be paying down more of my property because, by the time I get into my 50s and my 60s and my 70s, I want to have majority of my property paid off because I just don't want to have a lot of mortgage as I get into my 60s, 70s, 80s, because I don't want to be doing board meeting with the damn bank talking about, yo, right? What is this shit you all doing on me? You know what I mean? And so I don't need to be leveraging my money in my 70, 80. If you still leveraging your money, you got your priority backwards. And so I still be buying, I still be building, I still be 1031ing. And at the same time, I'll be paying down my mortgage going into my 60s. Just my business. I'm always going to be out as be a inspirator, an educator. So the new form now is online. So, we're going to keep continuing to educate people on YouTube, now podcasts, social media, Instagram, everything is still around the next 5 or 10 years. That's what we'll be doing. So I'll be still doing that with my team. And then Springboard is going to be around for a long time. We're going to be out there teaching a lot of people every day how to do this right without losing their money. And how to get enough rental property, get out of the rat race and really have a life of balance, a life of abundance, a life of simplicity, a life of joy, versus a life of abundance and stress, a life of abundance and, and no balance. Who want that? Who want to have a lot of money, have no balance? And so that's what Springboard is all about. We want to teach people how to be happy millionaire, have balance, have peace of mind, have joy, have family. That's what we're all about. And I see myself continue to do that. And that's where I see myself in the next 10 years.
There you go. I'm excited to see it. And, I'll be along for the ride on the train with you. So.
Yes, you will, brother. You'll be changing live with me out here, bro.
So before I let you go, right, this is the Ian Loves Real Estate podcast. So before I let you go, I got to ask, Thach, why do you love real estate?
Of course, it means a lot now than it was when I was younger. When I was younger, it was about saying to everybody, oh, I got hundreds of thousands of properties and millions of dollars of real estate. You know what I mean? But today, at 54 years old, why do I love real estate today? Because a tenant is paying down my property. Okay, I pay no taxes on appreciation. I have write-off for depreciation. Tax-free cash-out refi. No taxes when I 1031. I get to pass all this wealth to the next generation tax-free. Tenant pay down my property, which I said. I get cash flow every month, which is causing me to be out of the rat race. And ultimately, I get to have my time back, and I get to have the freedom to do what I want to do, when I want to do it, and can nobody tell me I am nothing else. I'm the boss. And that's why I love real estate.
Yes. You are the boss, man. You live it, you preach it, and you've inspired probably millions of people at this point. So, can't thank you enough for being here.
You're welcome.
Man. Yeah.
This has been fun, man. You know what I mean? We want to get the message out there, right? Is owning real estate. There's so much benefit, but the most important thing, you guys, we all want our time back and we want freedom. Remember that. That's the end of the day.
So again, for those of us listening that don't know Thach, what's the best way to reach you, on social media or find out more about you, follow your journey these next 10 years?
Yeah, you got to go to my Instagram. It's just my name, Thach Nguyen. Okay. And then YouTube, also, it's just my name. You got to punch in my name. You got to find me on YouTube. If you got to punch in TikTok, Facebook, my name, and you got to find me. That's it. Real simple.
Perfect. Yeah. And for those listening, if you do want to get into mentorship, education, learn more about doing real estate the right way, Springboard to Wealth has been an amazing opportunity for me since joining in 2020. I learned a lot from Thach, Stephanie, and the other members of the team. And it's just a great network and a great way for you to get started with the right foundation. So if you guys are interested, go check that out as well. And yeah, thank you so much again, Thach, for being here. Really appreciate it. And we'll see you around, man.
All right, you guys have a fantastic day. Peace out.
Peace.